Conor McGregor has been accused of an absolute madness of a situation. Jarlin Turner versus Dan Hooker is official for UFC 285, and Kelvin Gastelum versus Chris Curtis is official for UFC 287, and many other fights have been announced as well that I'm going to talk about at the end of the video. Let's talk about all of this on today's MMA News reaction video, starting with the most serious of all the topics. Conor McGregor has been accused of assaulting a woman aboard his yacht. This is just another one of many accusations over the years that have been made against Conor McGregor. None of them really have been proven to be true yet. He seems to have gone to court for a lot and not really faced any kind of consequences for anything, so you can imagine that maybe none of the cases were proven to be true in their allegations. And the alleged victim, a 42-year-old woman, says Conor McGregor kicked and punched her before threatening to drown her last July. I don't know why this has only come about now, but apparently it happened last July 2022. The incident allegedly occurred on McGregor's yacht following his birthday party on the 16th of July in Ibiza, Spain. And they say, as they quote, the victim, we'll find out if she is a victim or not in due time, claims it was as if he was possessed. I knew that I had to get off the boat because I thought he was going to kill me. We have mutual friends, and I have met him numerous times. I can't believe what he did to me. He is a criminal. I think he would have killed me if I hadn't got off of his yacht. The woman said he jumped from the yacht to escape McGregor. She jumped from the yacht to escape McGregor, and that she was picked up by a Red Cross boat, which took her to shore. According to Ultima Hora, the woman wouldn't identify McGregor as her assailant to Spain's Civil Guard police, but would later report that McGregor had attacked her when talking to the Ireland police a couple of days later. Either Conor McGregor is a movie-style evil monster of a person, or this woman's straight-up capping. And this is cap of the highest degree. It's one of those two things. Conor McGregor is legit a movie villain type of evil, or this woman's talking out of her behind. Okay, and I don't want to do too many sort of like insults towards the woman, but I just think that it's not going to be a case that she's going to be able to win. And that's what I want to talk about in the video. Regardless of if you believe it's true or not. To be honest with you, the way it's painted out, it sounds like it's a whole bunch of baloney to me. Okay, that's the initial instincts I got. And the way that it's been painted out, and I just don't think it's a winnable case for her. So I don't think McGregor's going to have to worry. He's, of course, denied this happening and stuff like that. The problem is, the woman wouldn't identify McGregor as her assailant to Spain's Civil Guard police, but would later report that McGregor had attacked her when talking to Ireland police. This is going to be a problem in court because it sort of delegitimizes her claims. At the time of the alleged incident, and this is according to the official article as well, I'm going further into this. At the time of the alleged incident, Spanish police claimed there had been some kind of language misunderstanding, saying one of the first people to go to her aid after she was brought to shore had heard her say she'd come from McGregor's yacht and wrongly thought she was alleging she'd been assaulted. The Civil Guard also insisted after the initial reports in the Spanish press last summer that no active investigation was underway because she told them she had fallen from the yacht into the water off the island of Formentera near Ibiza and did not want to press any charges on any case whatsoever. This is the problem. The case had been provisionally shelved last summer because the woman had not presented a formal written complaint to the police, and but it was now being reopened in light of her statement to the Garda in Ireland, of course. This is going to be the problem for her. If it did happen to her, and she claims that the reason why she didn't say anything happened then because she was in shock of the whole situation, and apparently she was in a bikini and she just wanted to get back to her hotel room and sort of unwind after the whole situation, and said that she was in a state of trauma and stuff like that. The problem is, they're going to look to that and say, well, why didn't you say Conor McGregor did this? Why did you tell police that arrived on the scene after a crime happened to you that a crime did not happen to you, and then moments later when you had time to think about it say, oh no wait, a crime did happen to me? Conor McGregor turned into an evil supervillain, tried to drown me, threatened to drown me, beat me up on his yacht, and tried to kill me. Like, it's just going to be such a far-fetched case for her to try and win. If it's true, I wish her the best of luck, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. I just don't believe it at all, man. You're telling me you get... That stuff happens to you. I'm trying not to say it too many times because I'm going to get demonetized. I'm probably already demonetized. But all that stuff happens to you. The police come, rush into your rescue, and you tell them, sorry, I just fell off the yacht into the water, and no charges or anything. Nothing happened. I'm fine. No screaming. No, he tried to do this to me. And screaming in a panic, trying to get them to understand the severity of the situation. Just, oh, hey, you guys are here. Yeah, I fell off the yacht. Silly me. I'll be on my way now. And then days later, when you realize, oh my God, I can make a little bit of money out of this. All of a sudden, time to act like Conor McGregor trying to drown you and kill you. And it's not just that the reason why I don't believe it. It's the wording of her claim. It was as if he was possessed. You know what I mean? So she's wording this. Maybe it happened. And maybe Conor McGregor is Satan reincarnate. Maybe he is. Who knows? But the way she's wording this is in legalese, if you listen to it closely. It was as if he was possessed. Now she can claim that if McGregor doesn't remember doing it, maybe he was under the influence of some substance. And that's why he doesn't remember doing it. And that's why he's claiming that he didn't do it. So she can go against his defense in that way. It was as if he was possessed, she says. I knew I had to get off the boat because I thought he was going to kill me. Now she can claim attempted murder and really go after him. And then even she ends it at the end. I can't believe what he did to me. He's a criminal. Labels him a criminal. And obviously in the case, they're probably going to bring up some of the past cases and allegations that have been made against Conor McGregor. I think he would have killed me if I hadn't got off of his yacht, is what she ends with in her statement. If this, and me and Hakeem Dawood's top comment is cap. And there's another top comment, asked him if he was a woman. You know what I mean? It's just like, it just sounds so far-fetched and silly. And then you hear that she didn't even, say that McGregor attacked her. She didn't even say she was attacked. She just said she fell off a boat into the water. Thank you for helping me. I'll be off to my hotel room now. Couple of days later, McGregor tried to kill me. Like, it's not going to work out in court whether she is telling the truth or not. And I hope she's not telling the truth, because that would be a terrible situation if she was to make such a mistake out of shock to undermine her entire case. And then nothing happens to McGregor because of it. But that just sounds like it just sounds so scripted to me. But either way, we're going to move on to another story. If it happened, Conor McGregor's terrible. I'll be the first one to say it. We'll find out in court. We move on. Jarlin Turner versus Dan Hooker has been made official for UFC 285. And this is a very big fight. It's a stupid fight for Dan Hooker because he's going to lose. People don't understand how good Jarlin Turner is. I think you got to be a grappler to beat him. I think Gamrot gives Jarlin Turner problems. I think Arman Sarukian gives Jarlin Turner massive amounts of problems. I think a bunch of people that can grapple in that lightweight division, Makhachev included, of course, Beneil Dariush, Charles Oliveira, would give Jarlin Turner massive problems. Dan Hooker don't grapple, doesn't do it offensively well, leaves his neck open when he does grapple offensively because he shoots with his head on the outside. Jarlin Turner loves to latch up any guillotine or rear naked choke in that guillotine or dash choke in that position, like he did after he hurt Brad Riddell on the feet. I just see Dan Hooker getting beaten on the feet here because I think he's lost a little bit of speed. My opinion, think he's lost a touch of speed in his game, and Jarlin Turner's on the rise right now. He's got a bunch of momentum. He's massive for the lightweight division. This is the equivalent of Dan Hooker making featherweight. Jarlin Turner making lightweight. They're the same kind of frame for each of those divisions. But Jarlin Turner seems to have no issue making it. Could Dan Hooker win? Yes. Is he going to be a massive underdog? Probably not. He'll probably be like a 2-1 underdog or something like that. Jarlin Turner will be a favourite. I just think it should have been Dan Hooker versus Renato Moicano in Australia. Much more accessible matchup for Dan Hooker. But Jarlin Turner, I think, is going to tag him at range because Dan Hooker don't move his head too much. You can't get hit clean too much by Jarlin Turner because he's so rangy. He can catch you tip of the chin. He can catch you tip of the chin from a very weird range where you're not expecting it. And because you're not expecting it, you get rocked by it. He's like Kevin Holland in that way. Maybe he doesn't have crazy power, but he catches you when you think you're out of range. So I'm going to go with Jarlin Turner first round finish, TKO. Maybe he eventually latches up a submission in that fight after rocking Dan Hooker early on. Maybe Hooker panic shoots a takedown to try and change things up. I don't see it going well for Dan Hooker. Great card. I'm glad it got added to the card because we've lost Nunes versus Aldana off of that card. So they needed a replacement on the main card, and this is that replacement, I guess. But yeah, it makes sense ranking-wise, though, right? It makes sense. Dan Hooker's coming off a win. He's number 11. Jarlin Turner's number 10. Winner of this will get a top 10 opponent like Mateus Gamrot, RDA, if he's returning to lightweight, that is. Maybe Armand Sarukian. And then the winner of that one can get a top 5 opponent because, again, Poirier, Gaethje, Chandler, and all sorts are just going to keep fighting each other. Thank God Gaethje's finally fighting Fiziev. We'll see what happens with that. But I'm going to go with Jarlin Turner first round finish over Dan Hooker. Hooker looks too slow recently. We move on to another fight that's been announced, which is Chris Curtis versus Kelvin Gastelum. I'm going to go with Chris Curtis here with body shots. Kelvin Gastelum turning around after losing teeth, being kneed in the face, having an injury. Chris Curtis has a ton of momentum right now. He has a great win in his recent fight against, I believe, Joaquin Buckley, if I'm not mistaken, and that was quite recently at the end of the year. He was even offering to step in to fight Gregory Rodriguez at one point, so we know he's been ready to jump in and take another fight. So he's been ready, he's been training, and I don't think that Kelvin Gastelum's going to be able to keep him at range and kick at him and poke at him the same way Jack Hermansson did. I think he's going to have to get scrappy with Chris Curtis. And I'm worried for Gastelum, man, because he hasn't been in there in a while. Curtis is active as ever. Kelvin Gastelum hasn't been in there in so long, has taken some damage in his career, doesn't seem like he's switching it up. It doesn't seem like he's mixing it up the right way anymore. I just feel like Chris Curtis is going to beat him in the pocket and land those body shots. Chris Curtis has maybe equally as good of a chin at this point in Kelvin's career because Curtis hasn't taken that much damage. Curtis has a really good chin, really patient fighter, knows how to fight on the inside. I can see him landing those body shots on KG in a fun scrap of a fight. I'm rooting for KG. I don't even know if I am. I might be rooting for Chris Curtis. I like him. I've come around to Chris Curtis. I used to not like him because I saw him as the older guy, beating all the young prospects. But he's a fun guy, fun character, doing his own thing, trying to make his own money. But yeah, I'm siding with Curtis here, man. The activity of him, the reach advantage. He's got a 4-inch reach advantage here and an inch of height on Kelvin Gastelum as well. So in a pocket exchange, that's the difference of barely slipping out of the way of a hook from Gastelum and catching him back with a hook of your own. So I'm definitely going to side with Chris Curtis. Kelvin Gastelum has not been in the cage since August of 2021. August of 2021 was the last time that Kelvin Gastelum was in the cage. So Curtis made his debut then. A fight got cancelled. He fought in November of 2021, beat Phil Hawes. He fought in December of 2021, beat Brendan Allen. He fought in June of 2022, beat Rodolfo Vieira, lost to Jack Hermansson in July, came back in December, beat Buckley. He's been incredibly active. I think it's just going to be a difference of who's used to fighting recently. I'm going with Chris Curtis there. We move on to some other fights that have been announced that are really, really fun to talk about. Alexander Volkov versus Alexander Romanov. This is a weird one to me because Romanov lost to Tybura. Silly matchmaking, in my opinion. They could have just waited and found a different opponent for Alexander Volkov, but I'm assuming that Volkov is like, I'm old, I'm on a good contract, get me a fight. I don't know why they would gift Romanov a shot up the rankings. I really don't get that. He just lost to Tybura, as I said. But I guess they're just running out of opponents for Volkov. You know? Derek Lewis is fighting. I imagine it was either this or Chris Daukaus. I doubt Chris Daukaus is looking to get back into the cage anytime soon. He's beaten Jairzinho Rozenstruik. He's lost to Aspinall, and Aspinall ain't ready to. Ivasa ain't ready to come back. So I think this is just Volkov taking a fight to stay active, stay busy, and the UFC seeing this as an opportunity to get some new blood to the top of the heavyweight division and give a chance for Romanov to rebound. Because arguably his Tybura fight should have been a draw, and he gassed out in the last 2 rounds, and they were at altitude. So maybe you could say if they weren't at altitude, he would have just continued ragdolling Marcin Tybura. So I'm going to go Volkov here, though. I like Romanov's grappling, but it seems like he can only do it for a round and a bit. And Volkov has shown really, really good takedown defense. He's a massive guy for the division. He's massively bulked up recently as well. And his hands and his stand-up have gotten far more dangerous. Romanov's hands don't seem there yet. His stand-up doesn't quite seem at that level yet. So I can definitely see Volkov getting into that second round, starting to stuff a couple of takedowns, land some knees to the body, land some teeps to the body, and start beating up Romanov, maybe to get like a late rounds finish in round 2 or 3. I'm definitely seeing Volkov winning this one, but, you know, I don't think this matchup is one that makes sense. But it got added to the card that needed some fights on the card, and that is the Yan versus Marab card in the Virgin Hotels theatre room, which really does desperately need some help. So I'm glad they added a fight to it. Whatever. I'm not going to be too caught up on it. We've got some other fights. Batgarel versus High Stand. I'll go with High Stand. Good fight, though. Actually, I could see Batgarel winning, but High Stand's got some good grappling. Whatever. This is a good one, though. Mana Martinez, Cameron Simon. I'll go Simon. Mana Martinez looks okay sometimes, but, you know, I feel like Simon is just a prospect on the rise. New wave of talent in the UFC. And he's got different ways to win the fight, whereas Mana Martinez seems to have the hands, and that's it. If it doesn't work out there, he's kind of stuffed. We've got Natan Levy versus Pete Rodriguez. Very strange matchmaking at lightweight. Pete Rodriguez moving down to the lightweight division. Always thought he was a little bit chubby at welterweight, so he is going to cut down and try and make lightweight instead. I'm going to go with Natan Levy here. Pete Rodriguez is dangerous, but Natan Levy did seem very well-rounded in his last fight and had a really good performance. Side kick into the face. It was just a very good performance against Valdez in his last one. And other than that, we've got Francis Marshall versus William Gomez. I'm going with Francis Marshall. Dude seems to have different level of power in his hands. And Sam Patterson's fighting Ashmoz on the UFC 286 card. And I know that people are going to say, like, you know, Ashmoz, look at his name. He's going to be dangerous and stuff like that. But Sam Patterson's been beating Dagestanis. He's one of these UK talents where he hasn't just come up through Cage Warriors and got sort of pandered into the UFC. He worked his way up. He fought at Brave, which is where Hamzat Chimaev came up. And he fought some tough Dagestani guys there, and he beat them. Like, I know he didn't look crazy impressive on the Contender Series, but he's composed, and he's dangerous to everyone. So I'm looking forward to this matchup as well. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Hopefully that's all the news covered. Goodbye.